What's up guys, Tommy Bowie here from Movie Rewind, and today I will be reviewing The Lost World Jurassic Park. So without further ado, let's get into it. The Lost World Jurassic Park was released in 1997. It was directed by Steven Spielberg and is a sequel to the 1993 smash hit Jurassic Park. And it's not as good as the original. Now, it would have been very hard to beat Jurassic Park. It is an iconic film with hardly any flaws whatsoever. But The Lost World weren't only as good as the original, it's not actually a good film. There are a lot of problems with this film, and when you consider the cast and especially the director that's behind it, it's very disappointing. So basically the plot of this film is Ian Malcolm, who was the comic relief in the original film, has to return to an island inhabited by dinosaurs. It's not the original Jurassic Park island, no. This is an island where they nurtured the dinosaurs before transferring them to the park. And he has to return there because his girlfriend has gone there. So he goes there with a team in order to save her. And along the way they come into contact with poachers who are trying to steal the dinosaurs and take them away. And eventually they have to work together in order to survive. Now, my problems with this film, it's a lot to do with the characters. Firstly, Ian Malcolm. Jeff Goldblum does give a decent performance. The problem is, I don't really like Ian Malcolm in this film, words I never thought I would say. The development on this character is rubbish. We don't really understand why this girlfriend means so much to him because it's never really touched on. Plus his daughter is here, and once again, we don't really get many interactions between them to make them seem like a strong family unit. So I was very disappointed. This film offers us nothing in terms of Ian. In terms of his relationships with other characters, it's pretty thin on the ground. And that is an underlying problem with this film because you've got good actors. You've got Julianne Moore, you've got Vince Vaughn, you've even got Richard Attenborough, for goodness sake. But the main problem is the characters which they are portraying are just so bland and uninteresting. The main problem with this film is you're watching a bunch of characters who aren't really that likeable. You don't really know who they are. So when they are in peril, you don't feel anything. And that's different from the original, where every character's death had a massive impact on the film. In this death, they just don't. You don't really care. The exception to that, though, is Roland Tembo, who is a game hunter who's in charge of the poachers. And I think he is a great character for the simple reason he offers something different. He's not there for money. He's there because he wants to take down a T-Rex. He wants the self-satisfaction that he's been able to best a male T-Rex, which I think is great. He is a great character in this film. If there had been more characters like him, then I think it would have improved the film. The problem is, not enough development is given to these characters, even though the actors who are portraying them are really good in most other films. To be honest, the dinosaurs do not have the same wow factor that they do in the original. If you think of the original film, the first scene when they encounter that dinosaur, the Welcome to Jurassic Park scene, it was a massive moment. You know, in this film, that doesn't have the same impact. For example, some of the first dinosaurs they come into contact with in this film are a herd of stegosauruses who weren't in the original film. So these are new dinosaurs on screen. And it just doesn't have the same wow factor. They're just there. They're dinosaurs and that's it. And I think that's one of the problems. The wow factor for this film has completely been thrown out the window. Plus, when characters die in this film, there isn't really an emotional response from the viewer. There are too many characters which die. Because you've got a lot of poachers, a lot of them quite unlikable characters because, of course, they are poachers. So when they die, you don't really feel anything. Deaths in the original film, you felt something because there weren't many of them and the characters, you knew who these characters were. So when they died, you felt something. In this film, there's too many characters who are basically there to be killed. So that is a massive problem with this film. There's too many characters that get killed. Plus, the wow factor's gone. The dinosaurs don't have the same impact they had in the original. Saying that, the CGI, it still holds up, you know. Spielberg is a good director. There are scenes in this which are intense, which do have you on the edge of your seat. But for me, what is the problem with this film is the last third of the film. Because any development is thrown out the window and taken place by just action scenes.
You have the T-Rex coming into the camp and killing a lot of the poachers. You then have the raptor scene. Now, if you think about the raptor scene in the original film, these raptors are talked up as the most intelligent and deadly dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. In this film, they're pretty stupid. I mean, they get defeated by a young girl doing gymnastics who kicks it out a window. So any fear that the raptors had is just eradicated by that one moment. The raptors do not have the same impact that they had in the original film, and that's largely to do with the fact that they are not built up as deadly assassins. They're defeated in stupid ways, and that just takes away from it. Plus, let's get on with it. This film does offer something different in the fact that a T-Rex rampages in San Diego at the end of the film. Never been a fan of that scene. It's too Godzilla for me. I really don't understand what was the point of it. I find it quite boring, and by that point the film's been going on for too long. The stuff on the island, I might have problems with it, but at least it's interesting. It's two different teams coming together and trying to survive. The stuff in San Diego just felt tacked on. It didn't need to be there. If you had removed that, I don't think it would have made any difference to the film. If anything, it might have been a bit better. The scene of the film. Now, this is a section where I talk about a scene which I enjoyed in this film. And as I said, there are scenes in this film I like. The initial T-Rex scene is a scene which has always stood out for me. You have two T-Rexes destroying this vehicle with our characters in, to the point that it's pushed over the side of a cliff. That's really good. Spielberg did a good job with that scene. I was on the edge of my seat, even though I've seen it countless times. I still want them to survive. And that character's death, Eddie, the guy who eventually does save his friends, but is then eaten by the T-Rex, you felt something there, because that initial team were actually built up quite well. You understood the dynamics between the characters there. So this scene is good. It's the best scene in this film. But it does show that Spielberg, when it comes down to it, can deliver tense scenes. He can create a suspenseful atmosphere which has the viewer on the edge of their seat. The problem is there's not enough of that in this film to really make it good. So in conclusion, The Lost World Jurassic Park is disappointing. It has a great director in Steven Spielberg. They have a good cast. The main problem here is the story and the characters. The characters are not developed. You don't feel anything for them when they get killed. There's too many characters which are just disposable in this film which get killed. So it just comes across as just a kill fest rather than a meaningful thriller, which of course the first Jurassic Park did very well. In terms of the story, the stuff on the island is interesting, but the San Diego stuff at the end of the film does feel incredibly tacked on. This film, I don't think, was ever going to beat Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park was just too good. But this, as the outcome, how the mighty have fallen. So I would give The Lost World Jurassic Park a very well-deserved firewood ranking. It might start off promising. You might enjoy looking at it at first. But by the end, you're just left with a mess and a lot of disappointment. So thanks for watching, guys. I really do hope you enjoyed The Lost World Jurassic Park movie review. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe in order to receive great and maybe even improved quality content in the future. Now, The Lost World, some people like it. I'm glad you do. I didn't. I thought it was pretty bad. But Jurassic Park 3, it surely can't get any worse, can it? Can it?